Wife said she can't send her family away, so they have been living with us since we married. I'm a certified people pleaser and it's suffocating me. I am Zach, 30 years male, married to my wife Emily a year ago. When I and Emily were dating, she always told me how her family is so attached to each other, how they can't do without each other. I felt this is what family should be like. I don't even know all my cousins, barely talk to my siblings as everyone is minding their business. I never know the real meaning of what Emily said until it started affecting my marriage. I went to Thanksgiving dinner with my then-girlfriend Emily. Her mother was nice but a bit of a talkative. Her dad always have this polite smile as he nodded his head at me. Her brother? Paul, the one that jokes with almost everything. This family was opposite to everything my family believed in. My mum neither interfere in your business nor give you unsolicited advice, but Emily's mother is the queen of that department. She was boldly comparing her nephew's current girlfriend to his ex. I was scared for myself when she looked at me. Said she hoped they'll benefit from me since I'm dating their precious daughter. I glanced at my girlfriend who was sitting right next to me, but she smiled and looked away. I just want to leave there as soon as possible. I made an excuse of going to meet a client just so I can leave. When I got to my car, Emily said she was sorry if I feel offended by what her mother said, and she meant no harm. Fast forward to a year later, I proposed to Emily and she said yes. It was just a simple, quiet and intimate place just like she wanted it, but her family, especially her mother, took offense. We soon got married and we moved into a much bigger apartment. A 3-bedroom. We took the master bedroom just as expected. But I noticed Emily was somehow opposing. She asked if we can take the other room because she loved it more. I told her she can take the room as it's our house and nobody is occupying them anytime soon. She let it be. I planned for us to have our honeymoon in Norway and Emily wants to have it in Spain, so we figured we first go to Spain, stay for 2 weeks, then visit Norway for a week. Emily said she would like her mum to house sit for us so the house doesn't get lonely. I agreed and thanked my mother-in-law for being so kind. We traveled, had fun, visited most of the tourist sites in Spain. After 2 weeks, we went to Norway and I felt peace. Wish I knew it would be the last time. When we landed back, I noticed my wife was acting strange. I asked if she was all right. She said she's just stressed. Stressed? How? We just came back from doing nothing other than getting breakfast in bed, sightseeing, etc. I thought maybe she was homesick. Once we got to our neighborhood, my wife told me to promise her I won't get angry. I asked why should a man coming back from his honeymoon be angry? When we arrived at our doorstep, I noticed people were inside. I looked at my wife and she was looking at something else. I opened the door and what I saw was magnifying. My wife's family. All her family were parked in. I didn't understand what was going on. Maybe they came to welcome us, but they should have come to the airport. When they noticed us, her mother immediately stood, asked why we didn't tell her we were arriving today. I was shocked. I remember telling my wife to tell her mother we were coming back so she can leave to her home. I looked at my wife. She just smiled and said she forgot. Our house was supposed to be cleaned, but what I saw that day was anything but clean. It was rough, clothes, shoes, hairs, and our house decorations was no longer how we did it. And to top it all, my mother-in-law told me that they have discussed and agreed that our curtains were not fancy enough, so they changed it. At that point, I couldn't take it anymore, so I just went to our room. Glad my room was not touched. Emily followed shortly, and she couldn't meet my eyes. I asked her what was going on. She stammered that she didn't know how to tell me that her family will be living with us for just 1 month. Their previous apartment was too small and not up to her mother's standards, so she invited them in but promised they will be out after a month. Once they were able to sort their apartment issues, I told my wife this can't happen because I need my peace and they need to leave immediately. She said if I force them to go, they will be homeless because her mother already sold their house. I felt dumb, so I sadly let it go. A month passed, they were still here. Once I talk about them moving, my mother-in-law somehow bring in another topic. My father-in-law is not living with us. Man was too ashamed to live with a newly married couple that needed to be left alone. It's been a year already. Still here, still interfering. Can't have a conversation without my wife asking for her mother's view and ended up sabotaging our previous plans. I was discussing with my wife about trying for a baby since it's already a year and her family is not ready to move, and my mother-in-law immediately banged on our door. I opened it and asked why she was there. She let herself in and started scolding Emily and I on why should we be discussing about such important matters without consulting her. Obviously she was eavesdropping on my conversation the whole time. I told her she can't demand that because we aren't a bunch of underage teenagers. She insists that she has the right to be included because we are one big family and she's like the matriarch here and every decision should pass through her. I laughed. Looked at my wife and told her to take care of this and everyone should know their place. Asked my mother-in-law to leave. I need to prepare for work. She grudgingly left. My wife went off on me about how I was disrespectful to her mother, and since we are married this house is equally hers. I took my laptop and left her still ranting. When I opened the door, my mother-in-law, her son, daughter and sister fell into my room. Looks like they were still eavesdropping on our conversation. While driving to work, I couldn't just fathom how it got to this. I felt weak in my own home. Another woman is calling herself the matriarch of the apartment I rented with my money. I need to find a way to make them leave without my wife being offended. It's definitely not possible, but I'm already tired coming back from work and seeing a lot of people in my own home. We found out my wife was pregnant and I couldn't be happier. This is like the first time I was genuinely happy since I got married. My wife told me that her mother wouldn't be happy with this news, told me to keep it away from her. I told her it's not possible. I really don't understand why we should be afraid of showing our happiness now that our family is expanding. She said I won't understand. I didn't know how the woman got to know about the pregnancy. I was not surprised though. I was invited for a meeting by my mother-in-law. When I came out, everyone was there. She asked me to sit. I was feeling something bad is about to happen. Then the bomb came. She started by saying we disobeyed her and my wife needs to get that thing out because this house is already full, and if I want to keep this pregnancy, I need to buy a big house for her, and she showed me the house she's already pricing. I wasn't surprised. I told her this is a beautiful house. And it's kind of expensive, but her taste is very good. I stood up, said out loud, the house we are living in is rented, and they have overstayed their welcome. My mother-in-law said I can't make them leave because they have established themselves here. I said, I'm not telling you to leave, but I'm just saying I'm not renewing it and they're free to continue paying once it ended. She panicked. She immediately changed her tune. She said she was just worried for our child since this place is kind of full. I told her I don't have anything to add to what I already told them. It's their choice to stay or leave. Surprisingly, my wife said nothing to pressure me even when her mom was telling her to. I went inside and started packing my stuffs. She came in, asked if I was serious with all I said outside. I nodded and told her, you can stay with them if you want. I'm not going to tell you to follow me. She asked where I was going to. I told her I'm going to live with my parents. She started packing, which surprised me. When I asked why, she said her mom is vengeful and might add something to her food or drink to cause a miscarry. I thought I misheard. I called a moving truck and took everything we bought and left. There were no shouting this time because my wife told them to go out, so she came talk me into renewing the lease. We left. She blocked her mom, siblings, and called her dad to tell him about the situation, and he was happy she finally opened her eyes. We moved to a different city where I was transferred. 8 months later, we welcomed our sunshine. My mother-in-law called my wife with her father's phone. Said she wants to come see her grandchild. We eyed each other and shouted an "oh." Honestly, my marriage has been peaceful since we moved. Asked my wife why she stopped supporting her mom. She said she knew what her mother was doing was bad, but she couldn't get herself to have her thrown out. Her eyes opened where her mom was visibly upset when she found out she was pregnant, called her child a thing. She had to choose her baby, and her mother wouldn't be a good influence on our child. If you watched till this moment, you are the real MVP. Please support us by subscribing, leaving a comment and sharing to reach more story lovers.